So with that being said, what would you tell your younger self? What would you tell the high school J. Dent?
It gets better. And get ready to have your mind blown. When I was in high school, I wasn't a tomboy. I was just the homie. And I did like tennis and soccer. And I was, the party promoter. But I was the girl promoting the flyers, but not the girl like that could be on the flyer. And now I've been a USC cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like I cheered
and I
for
was one of her games.
I've been I cheered for a Division I
basketball
universe, football, basketball, everything. And I never thought I was girly enough or pretty enough. And there's a lot of things that you struggle with, especially when you go to predominantly white institutions. The definition of beauty is, they only let one black girl on the team or two black girls on the team, and they let so many, white or Caucasian or Asian people on the team. So it really does affect your self-esteem. So for me to outgrow so many things and blossom into something else, I'm telling you, my high school self would never thought I would be a poet or speaking to people, motivating them. Never thought I'd write a book, especially at this time. I wrote my book when I was 23,
23.
Yeah. 23, yeah. I wrote it when I was 23, and I wrote the whole book in 4 days. And it was really, and a lot of it stems from when I was 17, when I met my first love. And just the fact that overcoming that, and just the residue and the scars that came from that, and how I love hard, and how big my heart is, and how gullible I am, how gullible I was. I never thought that everything I went through just at 17 or up to 17 would be the thing that will fuel my ministry and my career.
Right.
And even right now I'm in the space of really just acceptance. Accepting the state of life that I'm in, accepting the people who are with me, who are not with me, accepting my differences, not fearing losing someone, whether that be a family member or a romantic interest. It takes a lot of work, a lot of self-work. And I ended up, because of that, my first love in that situation, I ended up getting in, writing poems, about him. And then I was like, I need to study relationships. I need to study to try and figure him out and figure me out. And why did this happen? So I applied to USC to get my master's in marriage and family therapy. So you never know. Whatever impacts you, it doesn't matter if it's small to other people. If it matters to you, it matters. And this really mattered to me. So to see that
you don't want to make the same mistake. And I feel like people view relationships as being frivolous and meaningless and just you're just being a girl. And as much as, God created us to, one day be with somebody else, I think that who you choose as a partner is very important. That's the person that's going to possibly raise your future children. That is the person that's going to be influencing you in ways that you don't even realize. You know what I mean? And so I feel like if you choose the wrong person, that can somehow, not I feel like not all the time. I feel like some kids are lucky enough to not end up like their parents. Mm-hmm. But in some ways, if they raise your kids the wrong way, your kids might not end up going to heaven. I feel like it's a very serious thing, and I think that's something that people should pray about and really ask God, hey, should I let this person in my life? Should I let this friend in my life? Should I take this job opportunity?
Yeah, I think one thing people have to, and I had to learn this lesson, and this is something that's not talked about a lot, so just forewarning. When you pray for stuff like that, when you pray, Lord, is this someone that should be in my life? Or when you say those prayers of, Lord, if they're not supposed to be here, remove them. It's why it's very important to have a prayer journal. If you want to pray those prayers, be ready for those people to leave. Right. And it's going to be people that you did not expect. I learned that lesson.
That's so real.
I learned that lesson. I said that, Lord, take them away out of my life. I give myself away. I surrender. And then I got betrayed. And then I lost a best friend. Then I lost a guy friend. Then I lost a cousin. All in one summer. That doesn't feel
crazy?
good. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it coming.
Right.
And you're not prepared for it. And then you wonder, the same thing you prayed for, that's the same thing you cry out to God for. Why did she leave? Why didn't he fight for me? Why aren't we talking? Why aren't we friends anymore?
Right.
A lot of people forget that you prayed for that thing.
Right.
You prayed to remove them. You prayed for that thing. And as much as you have to be, this is why you have to be so careful. And you have to have a personal relationship with God, because to what extent is that biblical, or is that something a cliche we've learned to say?
Right.
Because there are some people, I'm not ready for them to go.
Right.
I'm not ready for them to walk out yet. There's still things that I need from them in this season. I'm not, there are certain guys that I've talked to where I was like, okay, I know he's not my husband, but he is connected to my purpose right now.
Right.
There's something I'm learning and need from him right now.
But I feel like God will leave them in your life for as long as he thinks you need them. I feel like we need certain people more than we actually do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I was actually listening to TD Jakes or TJ Jakes?
TD Jakes?
TD Jakes. I'm not really familiar with him, which is weird because I feel like I just realized that he's like basically a celebrity in his own right. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to him the other day on YouTube. I actually stumbled across his video, and like, he was actually talking about people leaving out of your life. And he was like, if somebody wants to walk, let them walk. Because their destiny is not tied to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm hateful. It doesn't mean that I have anything against them leaving. It means that I'm faithful. You have to accept the kind of path that God has, created for you. Or you have to accept the fact that that person no longer belongs in your life. Or they no longer are a part of the next chapter, or they're not going to follow you into the next chapter. And I think that's something that we need to accept, especially for me. Like, I get hurt when people walk away, and I think that's something that you can attest to as well.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh my God, like, what's going on? Like, I really miss this person. I can't believe they left.
Yeah.
And it's really just for your best interest. And I think that's something that you won't see until far into the future.
Yeah.
It's something you won't realize.
That's how I started my book. The first book that I wrote, it starts with losing my best friend since 7th grade, my guy best friend the next month, and then my cousin, and another romantic interest. Like, 4 people that were so close to me in one summer. We all broke ties. We all broke relationships. And it happened right before I started Long Beach. When I started my junior year. And that's why I said, sometimes it's in those seasons of transition where God will remove certain people out of your life, people you thought you needed. He shows you don't need them. That doesn't mean you don't miss them, and that doesn't mean those people don't come back around, because all of those people came back around in a different capacity.
Right.
The relationship is never really the same.
Right.
It's not. But to what we were talking about, because I'm brutally honest, like, I don't pray those prayers. Right. I really don't. I don't say, Lord, remove and take away. Now, I can do that because I also have discernment.
Right.
I also put myself first. So if you are harming me, if I feel like helping you is hurting me, if I feel like I'm being taken advantage of by you,
or drained,
I know to walk away. And there's friendships that I never even had to say anything. I just stopped talking to them.
Right.
And it was just like kind of this mutual understanding of we're not rocking with each other anymore. That doesn't mean I hate you or anything. We just don't rock with each other. Like, there's levels to this, and you've reached the level, your max with me. And then there's times where it's like, wow, I'm in a season of just being by myself.
Right.
Where I'm not really meant to be connected to other people because there's work to do. And that's one thing I would say as a boss lady, is balance. You can't do everything by yourself. And there will be times when you are by yourself where, you don't go to the parties because you're building your website, you're building your content, you're planning the week out. I don't think people understand how taxing it is to do social media full time. Especially as someone,
you gotta keep coming up with content.
You gotta come up with content. You gotta get good lighting. You gotta film it. You gotta delete it. You gotta post it. You gotta get the hashtags. You gotta get the caption. You got to do it at the right time. You got to make sure you look right. There's so much that goes into it, and it can be hard to just not post what you want to post because, at least for me, like, I'm a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard, you know, balancing your personal life from your professional life and understanding, like, I am not my career. Yeah, I'm a poet and I'm a motivational speaker.
But it doesn't define you.
That doesn't define me.
Yeah.
There's got to be more than that. If God were to take that gift away from me, who am I? Who is Jay Dent? Who the poet is Jay, so Jay, but who am I if God were to take away that gift? And that's who you got to constantly seek.
Right.
That's who you got to constantly. That's why daily prayer, daily reflection, daily affirmations. You got to give yourself so much attention that you're not bothered if someone
else. And also
be
honest with yourself about where you are in your life, because sometimes we're in denial.
Yeah.
You know, like, when do you got to fix this about yourself, or what is it about you? So that's turning people away. So I feel like also being honest with yourself so you can make those necessary corrections in order to be a good person in the long run, or a great person. Yeah,
and that's how you stop relying on other people to give you the answers. Not just other people, drugs, sex. We look for a lot of validation and meaning and safety in other things and in other people, when the truth is the answer is in you.
Right.
It takes one thing that I would advise is alone time. It takes, you know, I go to the beach at night, like 11 at 12 at night, and it's just like I feel like the waves are speaking to me, or I can cast all my cares into the sea, and I go off on God. I'm honest. I get to, like, spew it all out. I write down, like, what are my fears?
We're wrapping it up. All right, just keep going, but we're almost, we're good on time. Okay.
I write down my fears, and I write down, you know, what do I want in this next season? How can I improve? What am I not tolerating? And I feel better afterwards because I was able to figure out connections. I was able to do that work, that self-work. And that also prevents you from reaching out, spreading your business to too many people. You got to...
That's something I had to learn.
Yeah. It's a lesson that you have to learn. And when you learn it, accept it, forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself, show yourself compassion. I feel like, you know, at least one thing I get and I hear is I'm very hard on myself and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and that's the difference between being hungry and, you know, and aiming for success and just being present. That is something a lot of people I think have to practice is, you know, your time will come, but especially living in LA, man, everyone's out here grinding and you feel like, oh, if I'm not grinding, I'm not doing anything, I'll miss out. And you can't miss out what's assigned for you.
Like you're keeping up with everybody else.
Yeah, you can't miss out what's assigned for you. So you got to really make sure that you take those moments to breathe and accept where you are in your journey.
Awesome. All right. So that was it for our first question.